All right, so let's talk a little bit about morning routine. Let's talk about specifically alarm clocks, because I am the type of person that I've got to set probably 10 to 15 alarms to get up. Now, I don't know if I'm lucky, but Morgan, for whatever reason, does not wake up to my alarm. She wakes up to her own alarm, but my alarm will go off for an hour on every 7 minutes with snooze. She doesn't get up. So I will set my alarm like an hour ahead of time because I know it takes that long. I just can't. Some people get up without an alarm. They get up on the first one. Me, I'm a snoozer. What about y'all?
I'm in the same boat as you. I set a lot of alarms, probably every 10 minutes from 4:50 to about 6. I don't wake up at 6, but in the event that happens.
Right.
The first one I know is 4:50, so I'll hit, and then the second one is when I get up. So around 5, because I'm trying to be in the gym by 5:30. So, but Patty doesn't wake up. They can go off for an hour.
I don't get how they do it.
Yeah, it would wake me up. I don't know.
I'm complete opposite. Lydia, she's a light sleeper, especially at the end of the night. She's a morning person, so she's pretty good at waking up when my alarm's going off.
Patty's a light sleeper, but it just doesn't wake her up.
This has been a problem for me since college because James can attest. I used to put my phone on the other side of the room, so I would get up. Or, quote unquote, get up. I would walk in, turn it off, jump back into bed. I'd do the same tactic, except my phone's in the bathroom. So I get up, half asleep, and I just grab my phone, snooze it, and then bring the phone back with me into the bed. I guess I need to put the phone in the damn living room or something. Try and figure it out.
Johnny, remember when you had the mat, the carpet thing, whatever it was?
Yeah. You just stand up on it.
You stand up on it.
Stand up on it. Used it for a solid week.
So does that snooze when you stand up, or that turns it off? Like, what happens when you stand up?
You have to
on
like
it?
stand on it for like 10 seconds or something, and then it
You
would
just fall
stop.
back into bed?
You could just do a belly flop right back into bed real quick. I stopped using snooze button because I know if I hit the snooze, I'm not getting up.
So what?
Would you say you're using willpower then?
What's up?
You're saying you're using like willpower, kind of?
I try to, but it's either I'm getting up or I'm not. Because even in college, like, I remember naturally Billy and I, when our alarm would go off, we just have to hop out and just go to work or go work out or whatever the practice was for that day.
Was that more out of like scarcity? Like you were like, oh God, we can't be late. Like,
Well,
we
yeah,
gotta
that's
go, we
true.
gotta go.
Versus now, it's like, if I don't do anything, who's going to tell me what to do, right? Like,
Other than work being on time.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Now, Billy's a big guy, you would say, right?
what?
Billy's a big guy, you would say, right?
Yeah, he's a pretty big guy.
Didn't you do something with him in an alarm clock? Did you play a little prank on him in college?
I did.
I mean, you brought it.
I did. There was a few people in our hall part of it. Long story short, we set an alarm and acted like it was 4:45 a.m. We used to get
Nice.
Little ASMR.
It's a good little one. Bush or Nooners.
Light. Sorry, back to the story.
No, you're good. What do we do? So we
Now,
we acted like we were running late for practice.
right.
So we set an alarm, and it was like a fake alarm. It was like 3:30, really, when the alarm went off. But we acted like it was like 5:30, 5:45, and we were supposed to be at like our field house by like 5 a.m. So I go, oh shit, Billy, we're late. And then like we had like a few of the other football players like were like part of it, and they're like in the hall, and we're all scrambling. Billy, just in his boxers, always got to get his breakfast. Pours water into a bowl of cereal just in his boxers and just runs out the friggin' door. And as he's going down to the field house, like, Billy, dude, it's not. We're good. And it was like 3:45 by the time it was all done.
The funny thing is he was on that top bunk.
You had
yeah,
he was 300 pounds on the top bunk, and you were
Well,
on the
at that
bottom.
time they had
This
two.
is what we
They had
had
double
on the top.
bunks. So they had two bunks. There was like an L. They were both top bunks you had.
Yeah.
And then you had the couch under one. I don't know what you had.
I've never seen that man jump off of 7 feet, 8 feet. as
But when
high
he
as
jumps
did.
off, you hear him. It's like.
I'm surprised he didn't go through the floor because you guys were on the second story. Billy just dropped into someone else's.
I mean, it's a hefty.
Feel
like,
bad for whoever lives underneath you guys.
It was.
It was
It was. I think
Right,
it was.
was it
you
No, I
guys?
think it was Adam and
was it Dylan?
his roommate.
Matt and
Nico.
Matt
was
and
down
Adam.
there?
I was under Jorge.
So who was across the hall from you? Nico.
I'm telling you, it was Adam and Nico. I think.
Yeah, Nico.
Well, they for sure woke up because Billy was moving, and then we went back to bed. It was great.
Yeah, I wonder what that sounded like because you were a heavy foot person. Like you can hear him, it's like thump, 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 thump.
Johnny walked to his heels.
And then Billy's just a large human being, so it's like two heavy-footed people. I wonder. I've never asked Adam that. Like,
If he heard him or
Earthquake.
not.
did you just hear knocking all the time? On your
Soot
ceiling?
came down from like the ceiling.
Earthquake.
But yeah, no, back to the alarm clock stuff. I've been pretty bad with an alarm clock for years and years and years and years. I mean, Ryan, you can attest. Your favorite alarm clock story was you tell this at work. I to help myself wake up, I got a spray bottle and I put it next to the side of my bed. And I figured if I could like shock myself and like spray myself in the face, it'd like fucking like wake me up, give me a jolt of energy, and actually get the fuck out of bed. And for years and years and years, I always thought I was just a fucking bitch. Like I had no discipline. Like I just couldn't manage to wake up. And I was like, I want to be a morning person. I feel like I can get so many things done before the world starts, right? Because the world basically starts around like 8 o'clock. Like when does the stock market open? Isn't it 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or something like that? Yeah. So essentially, like you can do so many things while people are still asleep, right? And a lot of people do that. I didn't realize that it wasn't. I don't think it was me. I started Andrew Huberman. I started getting a little bit more research involved, and I realized because I was a night owl that my circadian clock was completely off.
Yeah.
And you guys talk about how you hit snooze. I finally figured it out. It's just seeing sunlight and knowing how to wind down properly. So seeing sunlight in the morning has been able to make it so that way my body knows, oh, this is when we wake up. And now it just does it. So I don't have to hit snooze anymore.
Yeah.
I used to have 6
Let's go back
alarms.
for a
I'm trying to wake up before something.
Yeah, that's the only
So now
challenge.
what?
No. So it is. I wake up at 5:30. I go and I brush my teeth, and then I get all that stuff done, and I get my shoes on, workout clothes, and then I go for my walk outside at 6 o'clock. Now, granted, it's damn close to like there's really no sun out, but by the time I'm done, my eyes have gotten enough sunlight that it knows it's wake up time. And so the clock, you have like a window of like an hour in the morning to like get that initial sunlight, so that way you can actually have the clock actually working properly.
What if you
Your
take a
internal
flashlight and just shine it at your
So,
face
no,
with the light? Does that work?
That's what he says. You can do an extremely bright light. Like he's got some crazy like lumens light that he uses. Yeah. And like he mentions that for like people that live in like those areas that just don't get sunlight.
Do you see on your topic with like sunlight, there's like alarm clocks now that like push out natural light?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yes.
I'm gonna buy you guys one. Let's just buy them all.
Do it.
Let's buy 4 of them. Let's test it out.
Sure.
Back to the spray bottle. So was it like 1 spray, 3 sprays? Like what?
It's usually 3.
Could you imagine?
How'd that theory work?
You just picture it.
I don't even know where I read it. And I was like, oh, just put a spray bottle next to your thing.
He's like sleeping, spray himself.
I tried everything. I tried put it in the kitchen,
Yeah.
throw it across the room. I tried throwing the watch on and using the watch as like shocks. You use the haptics or haptics, whatever it's called. I just couldn't figure it out, and I always thought like, man, you are just such a fucking bitch. Like you can't manage to wake up. Like what? Because it was always that like I talked myself out of it. I was like half asleep, half awake, and I just said, no, go back to bed. Like fuck this. Why would you want to feel like this? You're gonna feel like crap.
5 more minutes. 5
5 more minutes. 5 more minutes. And I get snooze. And I had like 3 or 4 or 5 different alarms at that point. And then I had a backup alarm that was a whole hour later. So if I just missed that morning window, I was like, okay, 7 o'clock, just in case you never wake up. And then Lydia would wake me up after that. But I thought it was my inability to be disciplined. And
See, I had that too. I can relate to that. But then what time do you want to wake up every day?
anywhere between 5:30 and 5:45.
I think that's your problem. 5:30. And
No. I'm telling you, Kenny, I don't have the problem anymore. That's what I'm trying to say.
But anywhere between, I think what helped me was I was like, I want to wake up anywhere between 5 and 6. You have to be exact. I want to be up and out of bed at 5:15.
It's a mindset.
Yeah, well, that's my point.
And then that helped.
You can't be that exact. Like, you literally can't be. Like, there's too many other factors. If you stay up too late that night, it starts to and your week can get worse and worse and worse. So I have a window of time. Technically, what Andrew Huberman recommends was like a 30-minute window, like just between 6 or 6:30 is what he does. I just decided 5:30 through 6. But routinely, I'm waking up by 5:45 every single day without fail.
So I've been testing that on myself because I agree, right? You can't, it's very difficult for you to say, okay, I'm going to bed at 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I will basically say I'm waking up at, I say 5. My first alarm goes off at 4:50. I know I have 10 minutes and I get out of bed at 5. So I've tested going to bed at 10, 11, 11:30, and seeing if I can hold that. I'm kind of playing a mind game on myself.
No, actually, that's part of
Kinda.
that's
like
part of
that.
it. You want to know what works for you. So I think there's a lot of research on like women need more sleep than men, and so they're usually around that 8-hour thing, and men can usually function just fine and actually prefer 6 hours sleep. But there's that window of time between 6 and 8 that works better for different people. So you could be a 7, you could be a 6.5. I've been tracking that for the last 3 weeks. 6.5 and lower, I usually drag a little bit more around 2 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. 7 hours of sleep is my magic number. I feel great. And so like, that's what I do every morning. I wake up, I mark when I went to bed, when I woke up. I'm tracking how much time I actually got, and my 7 hours is when I'm feeling the best based off of my mood track and my energy track that I've been tracking for the last 3 weeks.
Now here's the question. Now that you know 7 hours is your time, let's say you wanted to get to 6. Can you do that? Can you change that strategically?
I don't know. I don't know that part as far as like research wise. Like I don't know. I'm just, that's what, again, these podcasts that Andrew Huberman has, he's a neuroscience, so he like knows the brain, knows the chemicals, and that's what I'm kind of going into, and that's where I've figured out it wasn't a discipline thing for me, even though I think discipline's a very good thing and you need to have discipline. I thought it was just me being a pussy, like I had a bitch, like whatever words you want to fucking say. I just thought I couldn't do it. Like I was a failure, essentially, is what I can't, and it got me down. It got me in a rut for quite a long time. But thank goodness for podcasts and YouTube and stuff, because I was able to learn about this. And he just says you have that window of 6 to 8 hours, and he's always saying, do what works for you, right? And so that's kind of the thing. I did a trial period, figuring out what worked for me, and 7 worked. So I don't know if I could make it less. Like I don't know if I can change that habit, because that might not be how my brain operates as far as rest and REM cycles and how I actually perform when I sleep. It's a performance.
Tell you what, enjoy those 7 hours, because once you have kids, it ain't going to be 7 hours, brother.
Well, we'll see, because I mean, 7 hours, if you really break it down, like
It's a fair
what is that, 10:30 to 5:30, based off of what I'm saying. If my kids wake up at 6:30, I get a whole hour of the morning to myself to do something.
I think it just depends on when that.
Right, and they're going to
kids,
bed,
though.
generally speaking. I think like
You've been early.
Alex, Billy, and Adam, I think they're like, they try to force us a routine and a schedule for their kids, and I think they go to bed at like 8 or 7.
Yeah.
If they sleep through the
Yeah,
night.
if they sleep through the
Yeah,
night.
that's the problem.
Which they're not
getting
now.
quality.
No, they're not.
Not
No,
now.
they're not.
You're talking about getting quality of sleep.
Well, here's another question I have for you. Do you find that as you're going through this voyage, because I'm doing something similar, not in the same strategy, but something similar with managing the amount of time I'm sleeping and the ability to wake up at an early time, do you find that doing it consistently improves your effort, or it becomes easier?
I've realized I'm creating a habit.
Me too.
And I think habits, especially when you're trying to enforce change, what is it, like 30 days usually, or 20? I think 20 days is actually like the
Something like
sweet
that.
Something
spot.
like that, yeah.
Creates a habit. I'm at that mark. So like a great example, I'm not trying to be perfect, because I know perfection is something everyone wants to strive for. But if I was perfect, then what's there to strive for? So if I do go out late one night, like I did this week, I didn't go to bed till like 1 o'clock. I did sleep in that next day. So I let that slide, and the next day, right back into my habit. And it was like nothing happened. So as long as I can reset, and again, a lot of that has to do with, I think, the science behind this and what I've been trying to teach myself and learn about, so it's been working. But I think the habit has almost officially been created.
What I've been doing is, even if I go to bed at 1, I'll still try to wake up at 5:30 or 5 and try to force myself to do it, knowing I'm going to get a shorter time. But basically creating that morning, like turning that habit into a ritual, and just knowing like I just get up at 5. That's it.
Consistency
exception.
really helps.
No exception.
Yeah, I think that's why they call it a routine, right? Because you do the same thing every time.
What do you guys know?
Well, I struggle with it. No, I can get usually 2 or 3 days in a row, and then by either Wednesday, Thursday, pretty much on par. I'm either passed out on the couch by about 7 o'clock and wake up at 2 in the morning not knowing where I am, or I snooze through. My body just says no at one point. So I'm still trying to figure it out. But I think just the fact that I'm aware of it and trying different things versus just doing the same thing over and over. The saying we love, the definition of insanity, baby. I mean, I'm at least trying different things, but haven't found my right formula yet.
Doing the same thing constantly, expecting different results.
Yeah, definitely.
Over
Insanity.
and over and over.
So, and you just going back to you wake up just naturally, no alarm.
I wouldn't say I wake up. I definitely wake up with an alarm. I mean, the goal is to be up and at it by 5:30 the latest. See, the waking up part isn't so much the challenge; it's the falling asleep thing for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very reverse, right?
Interesting.
Which I've tried and I've taken a lot more action on putting my phone down at like 9 p.m. and putting it in the bathroom or putting it on a charging station away from my bed, because you guys all know me. Like, I love to watch everything at night. I like to read. I like to do this, whatever. And that's when my brain starts working better. But the older and older I've got, what I've noticed is sleep is becoming more of something I need to keep me going and get me throughout the day.
I just want to give you a little hint. I actually forgot to reach out to you about this because I know you always claimed insomnia.
Huberman says. Just kidding.
That's it. So, no, he says the human body has a natural reaction of alertness right before you go to sleep, which people think that they have insomnia, but it's because they feed into it. So he recommends you just watch the sunset. If you watch the sunset, it helps you understand visual, because you're using your eyes to kind of set against that stupid clock that I keep talking about.
So I try to, like, it'd be awesome to be able to walk and watch the sunset. It just depends on the schedule.
I know, that's the hard. So night has always been night's my next routine I want to bring in. Morning was my first strategy, but
I mean, I'm doing a sleep test in like a month and a half, where I'm gonna get all hooked up and see like what I'm doing, what I'm not. I'm using the normal app right now. And the amount of times I'm waking up and I don't even recognize I'm waking up in the middle of the night, like, that's what's actually really, I think, making more of the pain or the issue when it comes to like feeling refreshed when I wake up in the morning. I mean, on average, I'm like 4 to 5 hours, give or take, of sleep. I think I need about. If I get 6, dude, I'm feeling good. But again, it's the little steps. We'll see though.
it sucks when you get too much sleep and you feel groggy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I hate that.
that's why though. It's like after like 7, 8 o'clock, if I did try to sleep in, like, you're just sitting there and just tossing and turning and not falling asleep. So it's like, just get up. It's harder to definitely wake up though than it was prior to like being out in the workforce and whatnot. But yeah, I just had to stop setting snooze, because if I hit snooze, I'm not getting up, and I know for a fact. So I just don't do it.
Now, do you guys think it's really more of a mindset thing, like being motivated versus like, I guess, disciplined about it, like don't talk about it, be about it kind of deal?
I think it's both.
I think it's both. I think the initial intention is motivation, right? I'm motivated to go do this, and I'm motivated to set up this routine. But I think motivation fades. And then as motivation fades, I think it becomes discipline. So I think discipline is going to create longevity out of it.
Absolutely. You are correct. I agree with that, Kenny. But also, like, I think it's fair. Like, what works for you may not work for you or
And
myself, right?
I think that's what a lot of people's problem, where that problem initiates, right? Because I think it's, hey, I watch this piece of content and this guy does this, and it's right for me, but it's not. Everyone's different. Like,
trial and error.
I like a lot of the things I do are like blends between multiple things that I've read or found or watched or consumed, and put it together to fit me. So I think that you take someone's process or strategy and then you bend it a little bit to cater to you, because like, what happens if you have a night job? Well,
Exactly.
that
You're a
doesn't
doctor.
work.
You work in an ER overnight.
Yeah.
Like,
There's a firefighter
work
or
a
something
night
like that
shift.
too, where you have to be on clock, and it's just, there's so many different variables. So I think you have to look at those things, and then when you do look at those things, I think that you have to figure out what's right for you, because like James said, 6 to 8 hours. One person might be 6, one person might be 8, but there's a 2-hour gap in the middle, and that's a big gap.
it's a lot.
It's a lot of time. So you have to figure out what works for you.
That extra 30 minutes could mean complete different mood when you wake up.
To your point, though, to your original question, and to kind of piggyback off Kenny, I think it goes to like, there has to be that motivation in the beginning. Like, you got to get to a point where, again, you're like looking yourself in the mirror. It's like, I want to get better.
Right.
And then it's like, it's not so much can you do it, it's when something in life comes up and it derails you, or you have one day where you go out with your coworkers and your leadership team and like, hey, you got to get some sleep because you went to bed at 2 a.m. It's all right, yeah, I'll push it off till the next day. And then the weekend comes, oh, I'll worry about it till I get to Monday. And then Monday comes and then you're doing the same thing over and over and just keep pushing it. And that's where the real challenge comes. And that's where I think the discipline takes place. It's like you just got to put the actions in place.
So it's how you respond to those situations.
Yeah, because again, we're also dealing with people who are, especially a lot of these content individuals who are very, very, very good and obviously speak of valid points, but like they also have the luxury to do things in their current life, right? Like going through that, like what you were explaining, the program you're going through.
They're self-employed.
Yeah,
We are not.
We're not.
You're going
most of us.
You're going to work at 8:30, 9 o'clock, or 7:30, 7 o'clock. Like, there's different things. Like when people get their most focused work in, like I think of like Lex Friedman. I was watching his like way he goes about his day, and like his core focus hours is so much later because he does all these great actions in the morning to get himself ready to go. But by the time that, I'm already halfway through a work at that point.
Yeah.
And then you see some people who just wake up and they go right into work for a couple hours. And that used to be me. But the problem with me doing that was that the gym was a really big issue because then I pushed the gym later in the day. And then I had 99 excuses about not getting to the gym.
100%.
And I just kept working. And my day was literally 5 a.m. to 7, 8 o'clock at night of just work. And then I was like, yeah, I'll do the gym tomorrow. I'll do the gym tomorrow.
You got to do things for you.
Yeah.
You really do got to fit your time in.
How do you apply it to other things in life, like finances, for example? Right? We've talked a lot over episodes, fitness and waking up in different segments. But from a like James, you're a great budgeter. But
No, I'm not.
okay, for bachelor parties you are. But like for other reasons, I just feel like, for me, I can be very disciplined, and then there could be situations like, what's money? So I'm not good at being in the middle. I'm kind of one side or the other. And that starts to at least it's starting to caught up with me a little bit. So I'm just curious.
When you say, is this more financially?
Yeah. For that specific category.
So you're like 0 to 100. It's like you're super disciplined and this and that.
My joke is I'm either eating ramen noodles and like pinching the pennies, or hey, what's money? But another thing. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of people also struggle with like impulse buying and things
Sure.
like that. Or
Amazon.
Amazon Prime Day
Like,
comes through, or then you have July 4th sales, and then you have Labor Day sales, and like everyone thinks they're getting a deal, but really it's just these companies are training you to make impulse buys, large purchases at random times. And it hurts because if you have a budget and you want to stick to it, which I want to stick to my budget, but then all of a sudden I'm like, no, you know what? I can do this for me, and that's like one of the things. Like it's almost a cop out. It's almost like an excuse where I talked myself into it, and it's.
I know people were saying is,
sucks.
I work hard, I earn this money, I can spend it how I deserve that purchase.
Yeah, right.
Where maybe you do, but maybe it's not the right time, and that's where the discipline comes in on that decision.
I've been pulling out like cash, and like solely using that, like whatever I pull out cash wise,
Mattress guy.
as like that's what I'm going to use for my expenses for
put it
like
under the
fun
mat.
activity.
Well, I have a certain bank account that does that.
Yeah.
I have an entire bank account that's allocated to just
Discretionary.
spending. Yeah, whatever I want.
Uber Eats is what gets me.
But I don't honestly. I probably spend.
But see, I can be
on
cheap,
food.
and I don't fuck with Uber Eats.
Which is
And it's because I just can't justify the prices.
no, I agree.
And so I go and pick up my food.
And to your
Yeah, I'm
point
not
though,
that
but I
sure. It's like
value
$5.
time sometimes over price.
Gonna pay
It's
one
like
way or
it's
the
gonna
other.
be quicker. I'm gonna get my food. I don't gotta cook. Like I can get another hour worth of work done.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
that's
the happy
where
medium.
you can come up with discipline with food and your like your routines, right? Like meal prep.
Yeah.
So right,
Yeah.
I would agree during a lunch work day, like during lunch is when I would probably consider the Uber Eats because then I don't have to go find that food and drive and go pick it up and stuff. But at night, if I'm not doing anything, that's when I'm like, well, screw it. Like I know I have time. Let me just go pick it up.
Yeah, I think I had chicken and rice like 4 times last week for dinner.
I would argue that I could not be very disciplined with food and a nutritional diet. I just love food too much. Like I would get sick of the healthy stuff and be like, I need to have some comfort food. And
Which is fine.
No, I know, but I feel like it's probably unhealthy.
If you're doing it every day, yes.
Well,
But-
I'm realizing it's like maybe every 2 or 3 days I get sick of the food and I'm like, I want Taco Bell.
And
two
everyone-
happiest
Taco
days.
Bell's pretty good. Calorie count's not that much. Taco Bell.
No,
Depends on what you get.
I think it's the flavor profile that I'm seeking, like a spice, essentially.
You flavor profile seek Taco Bell.
Hot sauce. Dude, you remember all the Taco Bell
The
sauce
Taco
we
Bell
had?
thing's more of a cheap thing. Like, hey, let me just grab this quick burrito for $3 or $2, whatever they have it in their value menu.
You guys had a Publix bag of Taco Bell sauce
For like
stacked.
2 years.
No, the
all
two
the-
two happiest days of James' life: his wedding, obviously, and then that
didn't eat.
morning,
My wedding, it was so sad. Okay, go ahead.
the morning breakfast in Nashville, where he's got that picture, the family style, and he's just holding it like it was his child.
my-
Except he's about to
fire.
inhale it. It
It's
was
my
delicious.
Facebook profile picture.
Yeah, you're still on Facebook. You're active.
I mean, I have a Facebook. It doesn't mean like I don't have it on my phone, but
I still have my composite photo.
I have my. I have a picture from Stetson on there.
I think discipline can be, to go off with what Ryan was saying, I think it could be used in any space, and it should be used in any space, whether it's food or finances or relationships or work or fitness and health. I think discipline plays a role in everything. And I think it just comes down to understanding what you want, defining that end goal, defining that reason, defining the why. It has to have an end result. Understanding that end result, and then being dead set on making sure that that end result is what you have to achieve. And everything that you do in the middle to get to that end result has to align with getting you closer to that result. So if your goal is to have a six-pack, eating fried food probably isn't going to be in line with that. But if you don't mind not having a six-pack, then fine, eat fried food.
6-pack of beer goes well with fried food.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah.
Thank you, James.
It was just one example, but yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. Yeah, I think you have to know where you want to go. You can't be driving aimlessly. When you drive aimlessly, I think that's when discipline lacks.
I'd agree with that. It's like I'm working so hard, I'm doing all these different things. You're running on the wheel, but you're not going anywhere because you don't have a targeted plan of attack.
Yeah, clear
Can't
and
execute.
defined.
Right.
so it's not like taking an extreme, like trying to do something like cold turkey. Like
Yeah.
I could probably imagine this would be similar to someone trying to quit smoking, right? I mean, you got to be disciplined. You have to have the motivation to do it, right? We talked about those two things.
Yeah.
Progress.
But maybe you do like the nicotine patches for a little bit, or I was never a smoker, so I don't know. But I know that they have some tools to help you wean off of it. Where I think if you go with the extreme, you're probably likely to fail, right?
Yes.
So you're saying you set your goal, and you could do like the SMART goals too, where you have like specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time bound. But there's a measurable component to it. And then as if you create a plan, I feel like a plan of action also comes into play with that. And then you chip away at it slowly, and then eventually you've developed a habit, maybe, or do you're kind of pretty much like, no, this is what I'm doing, and then you just execute.
I think it depends. I think in certain situations, like you just make a decision. You wake up one day and say, I'm done either being this person or I am done doing this.
I
And
can't
that
tell you how
starts
many times I've done
today.
that.
Yeah, but a week later, you're back to normal.
Exactly.
You're back to
Yeah.
your negative actions.
But if you want something to change, something has to change.
And that's admitting you have to get better at something. And I think that's the motivation factor.
But what creates longevity out of that? And I think that you can be motivated for a short period of time. But again, in that short period of time when you're motivated, you must create a target. And you should take that target. Let's say you want to make $100,000 in a year. And then you take that target and you bump it up a notch. Go to 150, go to 200. And then align your practices, your habits, right? Align practices. What are the things that I can do on a daily basis to get me there? And then as you do those will become habits. And then as you do those, it'll become rituals. And as you engulf new rituals into your lifestyle, I think by association, you'll see you becoming closer to your target. And then you can adjust those targets. But I think you should also not set a goal that's in reach. I mean, in reach kind of, but also out of reach, like right there. Because I've set goals, and then I looked at the goal, I'm like, I could have did this shit. It was a goal, but I mean, it's too attainable. Like, these goals need to be massive. Like, if you want $1 million, now you need 10. And I think that's why I think a little bit higher, because if I'm working towards 10, I'm going to definitely hit 1. If I fall short of not 10, Maybe I hit 9, but I fucked up 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what my mindset is, just setting higher than expected goals.
Shoot for the stars.
But don't adjust it. Yeah. Until you pass it, don't adjust it. Don't adjust it down because you're having a bad day. Yeah. So that's something definitely to keep in mind.
There's also 2 different types of motivation. I was looking them up. There's intrinsic motivation, which is something that comes from within, which I feel like that's a lot of what we've been talking about. But there's also extrinsic motivation, which arises from external factors. I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to the gym, like if I'm like kind of like not feeling like getting a good workout in or anything like that, I'll watch someone working out on YouTube, like a hype video or a motivational video. You really type in like gym motivation, and it gets me all a little psyched up, and then like I'm able to do it. So I do use that strategy sometimes. It's not it, but I feel like extrinsic isn't gonna create the longevity as compared to intrinsic.
You could apply it to work. Like you see someone get promoted, that's probably going to fire you up. But then, like you said, is it just a week of motivation, or do you maybe go talk to that person, understand what they did, what were the things that worked for them, and then take some of that, speak with your manager, have those conversations. So absolutely, that starts with that motivation of watching that interaction. But then, what steps are you taking next to execute on that, or to develop a plan to then execute?
Have you guys ever tried, developing a plan, you talk about goal setting. Have you ever tried reward?
Can you elaborate more?
Yes, I have, yeah.
So like I can use food as an example. I've had a good week. Or like you set a goal, like I'm going to do all this stuff and then I'm going to do a cheat meal. And that's going to be like, I'm going to go crazy on like a banana split or something like that. Kind of like, you ever seen The Rock's cheat meals? Like he just goes fucking all out, but that's his reward for doing stuff. I'm a little wishy-washy with this because what I understand is that rewarding yourself. So like say maybe you reward yourself with an hour of YouTube and you're trying to your goal was to stay away from YouTube for so long and you don't want to get down that rabbit hole. You give yourself that inch and then all of a sudden you want to take a mile.
Yeah. Close you back in.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've gone back and forth with the reward thing. And usually you get the dopamine release when you meet the reward, but really the better dopamine release comes from the journey, the hard work and the struggle that you got to that reward. So I don't know.
I think there's certain circumstances to it. What do you guys think?
To the reward thing?
Yeah.
I think it's just trial and error.
Welcome to Hot Takes, where we talk about debatable topics. Today's debatable topic is Monday is the worst day of the week. What do you guys think?
Fat chance. I don't think it's the worst day.
You don't think it's the worst?
I'm going to say no as well.
I'm going to say yes.
I say yes. Monday's the worst day of the week.
Is it primarily because it came after the weekend and you had off?
No, not at all. It's just
Monday blues.
No. No, for us, it's just the work schedule on Monday is just crazy. There's so much shit going on. It's like, and I think that's partly because of like what business you're in or things like that. Mondays are typically difficult. Things are ending, things are starting, campaigns, all that kind of stuff. So for us, it's just super hectic, overwhelmingly hectic sometimes.
I agree with that point. It's like Mondays are built for, prioritizing what the week's going to look like, but also you have all these fires that you weren't able to close out by the end of last week. It's also, a little bit has to go. You're just coming from the weekend and again, that mental clock, it's like, damn, I've got a lot to put out and I've got a lot to accomplish this week. So I think it's a little bit more of mental, but
I think y'all are scared.
Okay.
Oh,
well, here's my question. Do you plan for your Monday on Sunday, or do you just walk into work and you're like,
I mean, it varies. I usually walk into work. I have planning periods in the beginning of my day. Yeah. So every day I have a planning period. But I argue it's the latter half of the week, the Thursday and the Friday, primarily because you're not burnt out. You just got to relax over the weekend. Yeah, you might not want to be there because you'd rather be watching football on Sunday, football on Saturday.
That's right.
But there's also football on Monday.
That's
baby.
right. I wasn't going to make that point.
There's also football on Thursday.
Yeah, because you're getting geared up for the weekend because you want to be done with this fucking week. That's what I'm trying to get at is like you're tired. You're exhausted. The week has been shit. You've been burning out fires. You're just over it. And usually they don't stop. Sometimes they pick up at the end of the week because they're like, oh shit, like we have to get it done this week. Like I have to get it done this week. Like a lot of people look at their tasks and they see, okay, a week is when I'm going to get done with. You put your hand. Ryan still has to talk. Okay, you're the
Ryan's
interrupter.
not going to get a chance to talk.
Ryan's gonna get a chance. To talk.
So like you start off on Monday, like, oh, I got so much to do, right? It's because you put that falsehood. You can get things done on Monday. It doesn't matter. But people put and procrastinate and wait until freaking Friday to get things done. And I'm sorry, but those are the worst. Like the worst is the end of the week because you're tired. It's been a tough week. You've battled people constantly, especially if a role where you're constantly getting pushback and you're just facing adversity constantly throughout the week. Yes, the weekend is there so you can unwind and then come back on Monday and hit it hard.
You never have anything spill over from Friday to Monday?
You mean like on Saturday?
No. Friday, spill over.
You know what?
onto
I don't
Monday.
care what you have to say. Ryan, what do you got, buddy?
Love it. Love it. Now listen, partner. I agree. Monday is not the worst. However, for me, I enjoy the end of the week. Where I'm going with this is Monday is bad. Give it that, but it's not the worst. Tuesday is the fucking worst. There is football on Monday. Monday, you're coming back from the weekend. You are energized. You're talking with your colleagues about what they did, right? You're more refreshed. Tuesday, it's like there's no end in sight. Wednesday is hump day. Thursday is Friday Eve. Friday, you finally got there. You're good. There is no end in sight on Tuesday. It's like, oh my God, I still have more than half of the week left to go. Tuesday.
You only say Tuesday is the worst day of the week because you procrastinate and do nothing on Monday and then let your Tuesday be terrible. Your Monday is a dud. I would debate that your Monday is a dud.
Monday is where I get to organize what my week is going to look like. I
Because you're not
Which is a
doing
dud.
shit.
Because you
You're
should be doing it on
nothing.
Sunday night.
No, you do it on Monday when you come in and plan out the week, and then Tuesday to Thursday you have all your meetings, and then Friday you're coasting into the weekend. But Tuesday is the worst day.
Kenny,
He's
you gotta
the
remember,
same guy
Kenny,
as the 4-day work week.
Kenny, he's
So wait,
Ryan.
you can
No,
honestly
he's Mr.
tell me
work is just 9 to 5. Like,
yeah,
that's,
right.
that's what he is.
I know.
Tuesday's the worst. For sure.
Because you do
Monday
nothing on
sucks,
Monday,
but
that's
Tuesday's the worst.
I agree with you though. I don't like Tuesdays. I would actually, yes, I would agree Tuesdays are worse than Monday because yes, Mondays
For
can,
both of you, if we took away your Mondays, your Tuesday would become your Monday and your Wednesday would be your worst day.
No,
No,
see,
Tuesdays.
I have a
when
question.
you
Clarification.
okay.
Are we debating the philosophical concept of Mondays? Because like, what if somebody starts their work on like you work at a restaurant, I work like
Yeah, I
Wednesday
agree.
to
First
Wednesday
day
to
at work after
Tuesday.
being
First day,
off.
yes.
Debatable topic now because it depends on your work structure.
We're
Which is
talking
why it's a hot take.
corporate Monday through Friday.
Yes.
Yeah, corporate
9 to
Monday through
5
Friday.
business hours.
Yeah.
Monday you come in. Listen, Monday still suck, but you at least come in refreshed with a little bit of energy. Tuesday, you still have more than half the week to go. You don't want to deal with it. Tuesday is the worst day.
So you can honestly say fall during the fall with football, you go into Monday refreshed.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm assuming that's a no for you, Johnny.
2 days refreshes you.
Better than no days.
But I feel like
It's something.
I'd rather just work through them, honestly.
Listen,
Yeah,
work.
you're
Do it.
psychotic though.
Yeah. We ain't working 7 days a week over here. We get to Friday. We coast into Friday. Saturday's fantastic. We can all agree Saturday's the best. Sunday about 4 o'clock, you start to get the Sunday
Sunday
scaries.
scaries.
All right. Monday, you're a little refreshed again. You're talking with your colleagues, how their weekend went, a little energy there. Yes, you dive into the work, but Tuesday, there is no end in sight. There is nothing good happening on a fucking Tuesday. Nothing.
Do you have scheduled meetings on Mondays?
Yeah, I kick off my week with a 9 o'clock roundup and then a 10 o'clock roundup.
How does that meeting usually go?
Good. We talk about what we recap the week. We get prepared for the week. We set what the goals are to achieve for that week, so everyone knows and has expectations for what to accomplish. And that we do it in the morning specifically because of that, because then you get the rest of the day to now work on it. So the way we've structured our meetings is Monday is kind of our call to action day. We figure out what's going on, and then on Friday, the management portion of our team meets and we recap what's going on and identify what needs to get worked on for the next week. So essentially, Friday, you're the manager. You're identifying what's going to be worked on Monday. You tell the Monday workers, okay, here you go. This is what you're doing this week.
Okay, so Johnny, real quick, on Monday, what do you typically do?
just chaos, organized chaos. As
But
we
why?
mentioned.
What are just list 5 action items that you're doing on a Monday?
Internal meetings, customer meetings, catching up on fires that I was not able to close out the week before, babysitting.
Babysitting's an everyday thing.
You're not doing
That's
this on
every day.
any other day?
But it's the point of that's what I'm walking into on a Monday.
Here's the difference. The point I'm trying to make here is our Mondays, we hit the ground running 100 miles an hour. You guys, la la la, let me get my coffee. How was your morning, Susie? Oh, you had a great morning? Great, me too. You guys are just like dancing through Monday and planning. Us, I got hit by a Mack truck by 8 a.m. Like, I mean, that's just the difference. The velocity of what we're walking into on Monday is drastically different, I think.
I mean, I don't discount the fact that you guys might have Mondays have the worst fires because of the delay in work. People weren't working over the weekend, and so shit happened. And now these clients of yours, which I think is a big factor.
We're not saying Monday.
So let me just ask you something though, because there's no other time of the week that happens where there's 2 days prior to that day where there's less responsiveness, there's less team support, there's less structure and focus. There's no other day during the week that has that. Why would Friday. Monday? No, Thursday you're working, Wednesday you're working.
No, because everyone's trying to finish their shit up on Friday.
But they're still working on Thursday and Wednesday.
My problems are on Fridays. That's what I'm trying to say.
My point is there's no other day
my
during
Monday
the week.
Is my Friday. We've said this for years and years and years in our industry.
I understand your Friday is hectic, but the basis of this conversation is Monday is the worst day of the week. I still debate that Friday you have team support through the week. Monday is the only day where you have lack of structure around support and everything. So the Monday when you walk in,
you're telling me
lacking.
that you don't have shit that has to get done on Friday, so that way it's running and operating over the weekend. You have shit happening on the weekends for your company.
Exactly.
And so
Why
Fridays can be
worse.
completely and utterly stressful if you can't get that shit done so that it's ready for the weekend.
No, I just have to work over the weekend.
That's fine. But it still makes Friday stressful. No different than Monday.
No, but I don't have to. I mean, the deadline's not there. See, that's the difference.
Well, I was saying if there's a deadline for something that has to occur on the weekend.
Monday is
we don't have that.
For our company, Monday is the planning day. We even try to limit as many meetings as possible on Monday to problem solve and plan for the week. And then Tuesday is when we're putting out all the fires. Basically, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we are hammering out all the
Monday's the day.
But for you, I think corporate wide, I think that you still face the same issue that we face, which is you face market conditions. Markets are closed Saturday and Sunday. Monday, people are coming in and that shit's running hot. I know as far as the market.
Yeah.
Now, your team is different inside of like your support and structure and service.
The environment, yes.
But I think as far as corporate goes, Monday has to be a big day because 2 days during the week, right before Monday, there has been nothing going on. So Monday has to be the most hectic day because Tuesday, you had some support from Monday.
Now, it's definitely hectic for sure, but I think, from an engagement and energy level, your energy level is higher on a Monday, maybe to be able to cope with those problems a little bit better.
Maybe.
Once you get to Tuesday, again, you've already been beat up by Monday. You still have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to go. You don't see that end in sight, which is why Tuesday, in my opinion, sucks the worst. Again, Monday sucks.
Monday's not the worst.
Tuesday is the worst.
Monday's the worst when all the fires start to happen. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you're putting them all out.
And then Wednesday, you
can get some football in on Saturday and Sunday.
Wednesday,
baby.
you can look towards the future. Thursday night football, for a lot of people, the weekend has started, and that's why Friday you're starting to coast. But Tuesday, there is no hope.
Yeah, so James, you agree Monday's the worst.
I agree that you're wrong.
No, James, you're supposed to say, you're wrong.
That's what I just said.
No, but you do it with it.
I said I agree, you're wrong. Whatever. You didn't give me the opportunity.
I cut you off.
Kenny talks over everybody.
Hey, Ty, what do you think?
Listen, time is a flat circle. I don't know why we. It's all perspective. I will say, Monday fucks up my Sunday. Like Monday ruins the end of my Sunday, which I hate. But I really feel what you're saying about Tuesday. Tuesday's rough. Tuesday does make the week feel infinitely longer. Like if you, God forbid, you forget and you think like Tuesday's a Wednesday or something, and you're just like in a rut, even worse. I think
Monday is Monday.
Yeah.
And then when you're out on Monday and you come back and it's all on Tuesday, we call it Moose Day. It's 10 times worse because now you're just combining Monday and Tuesday, and it game over. You're fucked.
Moose.
I'll say it's not the worst day of the week. That's my final.
Okay.
Oh, Kenny and Johnny.
Yay, Ty.
Hell yeah. All right, well.
Tuesday dinner, baby.
Let us know what your favorite or worst day of the week is. I'm still holding strong. Monday is a difficult day of the week,
For sure.
but it may be a different day for you. Let us know what you think in the comments.
That aren't going to get you better. It's all about your well-being. You got to surround yourself with the people that are only going to help you get to that level that you feel and want to be at.
Right.
And sometimes when it comes to that, it hurts a little bit. Like we talked earlier, like for a while, man, we didn't see you for a significant time because you were going on a journey.
Yeah.
You had big goals, big aspirations, and we all appreciate and respect the hell out of you for that. But you had to kind of cut some things down and focus on you and put things in place. Now, that's not always the case with other situations, but you know, you just got to eliminate the fat. The fat that's there, you just got to get rid of it.
You know, something that's big now is like, if you haven't heard of that term, it's called like monk mode. I think I said it earlier. I said something. Yeah, monk mode. Monk mode is like, if you think about a monk, basically,
I'm looking this up.
you go deep into yourself and your target and creating all external factors and like just basically blocking it out. Like, you are not going to go out for 90 days. You are not going to answer those calls when you don't want to. You are going to be like a monk, basically building your internal temple and focusing on yourself and building yourself. And then all external things kind of go away. But in that, because you're so focused on the internal and you're not allowing the external environment to affect you or to create any type of barrier for you, you can achieve a lot in that period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So it says here, monk mode it seems highly focused on self-awareness.
Yeah.
And then you
internal.
work through sacrifice, usually your social life.
Not going out.
And then that
External.
is the focus is to improve other areas. And they use the term cut the fat, which is what you were just using.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I really believe in monk mode. I really believe in if you want to change, you need to change. It's hard to say, hey guys, you're not going to see me for 90 days.
Hmm?
I'm probably not going to respond to your text for 90 days. Probably not going to come out for 90 days. It's going to be real hard to reach. If you need me, call me. Tell me it's an emergency.
It's almost like checking into a rehab center.
It-
But like
it's-
within your own
basically it is.
head.
Sounds
To your
like it.
point,
I'm
though.
like super. I believe it a lot. Like I would be willing to go and be like in a cave and just explore myself for a period of time and just lose all external sources of communication to then find deeper compassion, understanding of self-awareness, and really get honed in on who I am and what I want.
It's a self-development cocoon.
Remember
It
when
is.
I went off the grid for like 30 days?
Yeah.
Monk mode.
Hated it.
I mean, dude, it was great.
I
Like
know.
I needed it for my mental health. Like you guys knew I was there, but just the keeping up in the group chats, it's like, all right, let's focus on me.
Yeah.
But that's a perfect point. And it was good to just kind of get away, reevaluate.
And you're still focusing, like, when I talk about monk mode, I'm not saying, like, literally you're jumping ship and going into
Yeah.
a jungle for 90 days. You're still focusing on the primary things. You're still focusing on exercising, still going to work. You're still interacting at work. You're still doing these things. But you're devoting 100% of your extra time outside of building relationship with your wife or your kids or anything like that and work, because you can't just completely, like, be like, peace out to everybody.
Right. For 90 days.
For 90 days or 30 days or whatever the gap
Right.
is. You can't do that but all the external things you're cutting away. You're cutting the fat, right? You're leaving the core, but you're cutting the fat.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's what it is. I think that is a really, really good strategy. And I've done that on micro levels and on macro levels, and it's worked really well. And by doing that, you're definitely changing something, and you're going to see some type of reward from it personally.
So I'm reading up on this guy's strategy on what he did when he went into monk mode, and it actually two things are catching my eyes right now. One is meditation, the other one's mindfulness practices. Meditation, he was doing it for up to 2 hours at a time, which are long. Those were long meditation
Very
practices.
I think there's so just to point out, like meditation can mean a lot of different things. So I'd be curious, like, what is meditation in his or whoever?
I mean,
that-
I'll try to keep read through it and see if I can find that. But he didn't elaborate at this point in time. It's kind of like a bullet pointed section of the blog post. But going back into the mindfulness practice, he says, along with meditation, I began practicing mindfulness with my day-to-day activities, trying to stay out of my head and be in the present.
Yeah.
Um,
It's hard to do, very hard to do. But if you can, I mean, like,
do you
empowering.
have more insights on meditation? Since it sounds like you've got a little bit of.
No, I was just, well, not really. I would just say I think it's like, what is when someone says meditate, like, what is your first initial reaction? What's your thought process? But
Sitting in silence, but I've actually changed my thought process on that because there's an app. What's that one? Calm.
Yeah.
And
Calm
then
app.
there's another one that's like orange with like little character guys that they use. I can't remember the name of it, and I can probably look it up pretty quickly. But
Brain FM.
I mean, I'll just look into it. But like, I'll do like a sleep meditation before I go to sleep, and that actually helps me calm down. I relax my body, and it helps me go into sleep. So like that's a different thing. But I'm going through an application, someone talking to me and like walking me through it.
That's a guided meditation.
Guided
Yeah,
meditation. Thank
guided
you. That's
meditation.
basically what it is. Let me see if I can find that.
And I'm
app.
huge on Tony Robbins' guided meditation process. I've sent it to all you
Seen
guys.
him live. He's wild.
I don't know if
Is
you've
he
listened
really?
to it.
His clap. I love his clap. My old boss took me
Speaking of
one
that,
time.
one thing I've never really shared or never really talked on, but if I want to dramatically pivot my mood, like I'm like, man, I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like making that call. If I want to dramatically pivot my mood like instantly, I will do. I kind of refer back to sports. You know when like you're in a locker room and someone's like, "Come on, like pick your shit up, let's go."
Pep.
Yeah.
Like pep
Give yourself
yourself
a pep
up.
talk.
I'll be like I'll like get after
Get it
real
together.
quick. Like
Figure it out.
I'll jump like 20 times. Like I know Tony Robbins jumps on like a
Yeah.
trampoline like before he goes out.
Yeah, and he
right?
like screams and like just gets
Yeah,
the blood
I know.
flowing.
Bedros Koulian does that. I know there's a couple guys. I'll like clap myself together or like jump up and down or like do 25 push-ups, and then I'll make that call. And especially if it's a call. If it's a call, I'll click the button on myself purposely so that I can't hang up. But
I
like,
love it.
yeah, I'll like do
like-
shit like that. But like, I think that helps. I don't know what type. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it would be called. I don't know what type of. I don't know if anybody else does it. I guess they do it by jumping on a trampoline. But that shit works.
You're like hyping yourself up, positive reinforcement. Like you can do this.
Well, isn't
Like,
it like
let's go.
just, you get your heart rate up, and then blood pumps, and then your brain becomes more active?
I guess.
You
Dude,
get more,
shit
you
works.
get more air to your brain and stuff. I'm sure there's a scientific.
Isn't
thing
there like
about that.
motivational speakers that speak in front of like thousands and like they like scream in front of
Yeah.
a mirror like
Um,
I can.
What was that movie with Jim Carrey where he said yes all the time?
Yes, man.
Yes,
Yes, man. It's kind of like one of those things where the guy got in his face like, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyways, that meditation app I was mentioning was Headspace.
Headspace. Yeah, I've heard of Headspace.
Headspace.
That's a good one.
Yeah. But so that's kind of, I feel like the similar concept to like the YouTube thing that I was mentioning where I watch like a workout video.
Yeah.
That's kind of this similar thing, but you're doing a physical act. I'm just like watching someone lift weights and get all hyped up like Ronnie Coleman. Lightweight.
Yeah. I think it's a blend of things in order to get.
It's music for me. It's
Okay.
just to
Music's
try
good.
to,
So
Okay.
audio and visual, like your senses
Yeah.
help you with those kinds of things.
because sometimes I'll get like
Attention,
just
focus, and
just
Makes
caught
sense.
in my own, get in my own way in my head, just like for whatever reason, and then just to reset, it's like, all right, let me just go
have you tried white
play a couple
noise?
songs.
Love white noise.
No,
I like white noise. Give it a shot
Big
one day. Just
believer
throw
of
it
white
on.
noise.
I like white noise.
I bought a sleep machine like to where like you set the
Yeah.
sounds. Helps. The
Yeah.
rain. Remember I always used to do
oh, the
I have-
rain.
I have my Echo set up to when I say Echo, I'm sleepy.
Mm-hmm.
It turns off all the lights in my room, and it starts playing the rain sounds immediately. And it does it on a two hour timer. So, if I can't fall asleep, like I think eventually after 2 hours I'll probably fall asleep. But I have it so it shuts off at least.
Love that.
Yeah, it's silence is tough. Silence. There's times when silence works for focus, and then there's times when you need some sort of white noise, and it can be anything. Like most white noise sounds like static. When when you research white noise, it's like a static noise. But you also have like waves crashing, birds chirping, that kind of stuff. So it's just some sort of noise because audio, like it helps you get into a focus bout essentially, where you can do stuff that you need to get done.
I use Brain FM for that. It's like a purple app. I don't know. I know subscription.
I don't
There's
know
a bunch of them.
I use my Echo. I just tell Echo play white noise and it just does it. So.
Well, I
Yeah,
like throw it
it's
on my
using-
headphones. Mine doesn't like turn down my lights and all that kind of crazy shit.
Oh well, I mean, I have a smart home, so
Yeah, you know what? Never mind. We're gonna.
we don't
to
need to go
that.
down that.
Smart home, smart house.
Yeah, remember when Smart House turned on the people?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
then.
But I and this is personal. I think Kenny, you touched on this too. I just don't think you could be really all that successful in developing good motivational strategies, goals, and discipline without having a physical and mental aspect to it.
Yes,
100%.
agreed.
You have to if the physical part I think is such an important factor, and it doesn't have to be very much. A walk, a workout for 20 minutes, just something to elevate your heart rate. I think extremely helps in building these types of habits and creating motivation and all that kind of stuff.
Would you argue the physical or the mental piece? Which one's more challenging or difficult?
More challenging?
I think because I have years of learning and understanding of fitness, that one comes easier than mental. Okay. Mental's different because it depends on the challenge and whether or not I'm wanting to face it. I could have a different challenge at work, a different challenge in my personal life, that if I'm willing to face that challenge, usually it's harder for me to mentally get the motivation to surpass the challenge and not do, what's the word? Procrastinate. And just attack it and get it done and be disciplined about, working and focus and that kind of stuff. So the mental comes a little bit more challenging to me.
I would just say that mental is probably harder because I think a lack of mental leads to a lack of physical. Mm. Like if someone doesn't want to work out, is it because they just don't want to lift the weight, or because there's something mentally that's causing them to not want to go there because they don't
pain?
I don't know. I think
pain. Usually people don't want to face pain.
Yeah, I think it starts always at mental, and then that leads to
those demons start talking.
People don't like to be uncomfortable. They don't.
For sure. And that starts at the mental state for sure.
I agree with mental, but it's a little different for me. I feel like I'm a confident person, but at the same time,
oh, are you?
At the same time, I
You're
care.
the best looking guy in the room.
I am.
Literally
But what I'm saying is, at the same time, I care way too much of what other people think, and that drains me mentally. Sometimes it's an internal battle, and sometimes it affects, it spills into other things. So that's a discipline from a mental standpoint I need to also work on.
Do me a favor.
What's up, brother?
We're going to work on that.
Hey, great. Fantastic.
You're great.
Thanks, man.
Don't
You've
compare
got
yourself.
you've got a
What's
support
interesting
system.
about
Well, I
You
know,
are
I
the
should-
one and only.
I should give a
Ryan.
fuck.
You
But
shouldn't.
I do, because I care about everybody, man. ELE.
Yeah, don't care about comparing yourself to others, though.
All right.
You're doing just
Well,
fine.
actually,
man.
I guess let's break that down, Ryan. Are you comparing yourself, or are you just saying you feel like you're letting people down?
No, I'm worried about what other people think because
Think
I'm
of you.
a big harmony guy, and I want to be cool with everyone. I want to be good with everyone, but I need to have more of an attitude of I'm going to do this, and I don't give a fuck
I've let
what you
that go.
think.
So it's
I
not.
think
It's
you
not
have
that
to
you're
look-
comparing yourself. Like
Gotta
you're
let
comparing
No, no.
competition.
He's not
It's-
comparing himself. He's
Yeah.
just but
No,
you're
because
trying
like I
to.
said, I have confidence. I'm good. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
give a fuck.
But what you're trying
also-
to do is please everybody,
exactly, and
which is not good.
I
You're
I
because you're an
struggle with it.
independent thinker. That's the thing. You have very heavy opinions on things, and you run with those opinions. So that's a conflict because you are an independent thinker, but also want to please everybody, which is usually going to cause.
For work, we do strength finders, and my top two are. I thought it would be competition. Competition is actually two. My number one is harmony, and absolutely, it's a headbutting because I love everybody, but at the same time, I want to fucking kill everyone and beat all of you. So
Yeah.
I roll with that a lot.
necessarily isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, no, it's just something I run into.
You know what I think would be good for you? Practicing gratitude and appreciation practices. Because I think you could, and I've seen this before, I think you see this a lot in combat sports. I mean, you look at UFC, someone gets kicked in the face, gets knocked out, but he's like, thank you, Sensei.
Right.
Like, yeah.
No,
Like,
there's a mutual
straight
respect.
up,
I
like,
get what you're saying.
Empathy.
there's empathy towards his position. There's appreciation towards the position that you were in opposed to the position that your competition is in.
All right.
So opposed to saying like, oh, they probably hate me because I just kicked their ass, you should say, I empathize towards you and I appreciate my role and my experience and being able to have this position. And I think practicing that might help.
Yeah. It's getting deep.
Yeah.
Getting very deep.
I don't know, just a different perspective, but I think that gratitude.
What about
and
seeking to understand and getting feedback from people? So if you think like there's someone like you upset someone because you couldn't create the harmony. Like you wanted everyone to be like, why don't you ask, hey, what happened here?
Right.
What went wrong? What made this go south? Was it me? Was it something I did? Was it something you did? Was there an external factor that I don't know about? What happened here? So when you better understand, you can be more strategic and actually help not make that be your detriment.
Well, I think that's where the discipline comes into play, because I feel like I do try to get that type of feedback, and then it's trying to find ways to not be put in those similar situations. You know, it's got to be changing approach and things of that nature.
I think that's good and bad though, because I think that could, right? If I mean, this
You're
can
opinionated and
like let's
fight
say
the feedback. I don't know.
Well, yes, but also what happens if the person that's causing the negative emotion has some type of internal struggle that they're dealing with that causes the conflict? Realistically, at the root of the problem is they're the problem. You're not
But
always
then
the
you
problem.
realize that you weren't the problem. You don't beat yourself up about it. I think that was more.
Yeah, but then he doesn't have an internal resolution for himself other than saying, hey, it's not my problem, it's his
I
problem.
was just trying to say that the harder part was the discipline was the mental. Here we are down
Yeah.
the freaking rabbit hole. No, it's good.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think it just goes back to the support system. We all want us to be successful, so we just
For
jumped
sure.
in and want to be able to help. You know, we're
Yeah.
always here for you, Ryan. So, but
Because
can
we're
work on that.
everybody's bro.
We
We're
can
here
work
for
on
everyone.
that.
for everybody's bro.
So,
Were you
Yeah.
mental too? I don't know if we got to, because I think he posed the question.
Oh yeah, mental for
Yeah.
sure. I think we're all in agreement to that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that discipline is a massive piece of being able to achieve your goals. I think that there's short-sighted motivation, long-sighted motivation,
It's
which
a
we
tool.
labeled as intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Using those as tool to craft discipline was one of the important things, and continuing to change your model of what that looks like that fits best for you. Acquire the systems and strategies that people talk about around the world, but it might not be the perfect strategy for you. And figuring that out and molding it has taken us years. Like it didn't
Still
just come
is
about.
taking us years.
Yeah, it doesn't
And
just
try tracking that stuff. Like as you're trying to figure out what works for you, track. Like we talked about the sleep time for myself that worked for me. It was an aha moment for some crazy reason because I journaled.
And
But
feel
you-
free
but
to
what you
share
share.
it. It's
cannot
a very
measure,
good tool.
you cannot grow, and you're measuring it.
Yeah.
Feel free to share your journeys with us too. We'd love to hear about it.
Until then,
The
Bender continues.